Hey guys. Okay, so we're gonna go over lesson 1.1 of our math curriculum, Envisions Math. The front of your pages should have something that looks like a tree with a bunch of birds and stuff. If you turn that first packet to page 5, you should see a little girl sitting on some paint. That's the page we're gonna go over first, okay? So, first we gotta read the question. It says, Mrs. Witt bought 4 boxes of paint with 5 jars of paint in each box. Mrs. Carp bought 3 boxes of paint with 6 jars in each box. Who bought more jars of paint? How many more? Okay, so to make this really simple and to make this really easy, we have to actually break this down, all right? So let me erase my board first. We have to come up with how many groups we're gonna do. So it said Mrs. Witt bought 4 boxes of paint with 5 jars in each. So she has 4 boxes of paint, and she has 5 jars of paint in each one. There we go. Okay, so 4 boxes, 5 in each. We're going to label that as Miss Witt, because otherwise we may forget who that is, all right? Now next to that, we're also going to now write down what Mrs. Carp bought. All right, it says that Mrs. Carp bought 3 boxes of paint with 6 jars in each. So now we can have her 3 boxes over here. And this time the boxes are a little bigger. So now they have 6 in each. Okay. And again, that was Mrs. Carp. Or Carp, sorry, K-M-H. All right, so Mrs. Witt, 4 boxes, 5 in each. Mrs. Carp, 3 boxes with 6 in each, okay? Now it's asking us who bought more jars of paint. Well, we have to figure out how much the total was. So let's look at these. If we have 5 in each one of these boxes, there's 2 ways to write this. First one is by addition. We can have 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 for a total of 4 boxes with 5 in each. Okay? That would give us a total of 20. All right, so that's over here on the side. Now, Mrs. Carp had 3 boxes of 6 in each. Okay? So if we were to look at hers, we could do kind of the same math problem here. We could do 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 18, right? Pretty easy. But instead of using addition here, what if I wanted to write a multiplication problem? Well, multiplication is just high-speed addition. It's basically telling us how many groups and how much in each group. So for Mrs. Witt, we could say that her groups were 4 groups total, right? So we're looking for 4 groups. So 4 times how many in each group? Well, there's 5 little jars of paint in each group. So we can put times 5 in each group. 4 times 5 still equals 20. Same exact thing, just a little bit quicker. Okay, let's go ahead and glance back over here at Mrs. Carp now. If we had 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 18, well, how many groups of 6 are there? Right, there's 3 of them. So we can have 3 times, well, how many are in each group? There are 6 of them. So 3 times 6, 1, 2, 3, is 18. Means exactly the same thing as the first one, just turning it into a multiplication problem instead of an addition problem. All right, our last part of this question says, who bought more jars of paint and how many more? Well, if we said that Mrs. Witt had 20 of them, and we said that Mrs. Carp had 18 of them, well, which one's the larger number? Right, Mrs. Witt had 20. That is 2 more than the 18 that Mrs. Carp had. So we could say that Mrs. Witt over here had 2 more jars of paint than Mrs. White, or Mrs. Carp. She had 2 more jars than Mrs. Carp. So she has more jars compared to her friend. All right, friends. So on the back now, or on the bottom part where it says look back, how can we use our counters and addition equations to help solve this problem? Well, we chose to draw this out, right? We had all of the different boxes with all the different little jars put in them. Now, if you're like me, you would probably prefer to do this way. I'm a very visual learner. For some of you, though, it might actually be easier to do it simply by numbers, okay? So let's go ahead and erase this, and then we'll go ahead and go over how to do it by just numbers. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video for just a second, but I will be back. Okay, so now that I've got a clean board, we're going to go ahead and do this now the numeric way, so using the numbers instead of just drawings, all right? So it's asking us, how can you use counters and addition equations to help solve this problem, all right? If I were going to do this, if I were going to answer this, I would say I can arrange 4 groups of 5 counters in each to represent the paint that Mrs. Witt bought. So I could say 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals our 20, right? Because we have our 4 groups, 4 boxes, with 5 little jars in each, okay? And we know that I can arrange those into their 4 little boxes, like this. And we still end up with that total of 20, okay? I also know that I can arrange 3 groups of 6 to represent what Mrs. Carp had. So I can say 6 plus 6 plus 6 more equals 18 over here. Okay? Again, having those 3 separate groups, but 6 of them in each. Okay? With that being said, 4 groups of 5 make 20, 3 groups of 6 make 18. We can then compare them to find out who bought more and find out how many more that they had bought. So looking at this being Mrs. Witt, I'm going to put W so you remember. K here for Mrs. Carp. We've got our 20 minus 18. We know that Mrs. Witt had 20. We know that Mrs. Carp had 18. That means Mrs. Witt had the larger number. We know that 20 is 2 more than 18. So Mrs. Witt had 2 more than Mrs. Carp. Okay? So if you wanted to do numerically, that is another way to arrange that. All right, my friends. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to more practice. So this should be on your page 6 page. I'll give you a few seconds to go get that. Okay, so now we've got our page 6. We're going to be looking at the page that has the little girl and the 3 bags of fish. All right, so the question says, Jessie used 3 bags to bring home the goldfish she won at the fun fair. She put the same number of fish in each bag. How many goldfish did she win? Well, the easiest way to do this is to first look at the picture, okay? Well, our question was, does the picture show that problem? Well, she's got 3 bags, and she's got a bunch of little fish in it, right? Well, you have to count the fish. So if we count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yes, all 3 of those bags have 8 fishes in them. That means that that matches to the question that's being asked, okay? So how does this addition, how would addition relate to these counters? Well, just like we had before with the numeric style of doing this, we know that we can split them out into groups. Okay, we also know that if we do a drawing style like the first time, we can draw out the picture that we have. They've already kind of given that drawn out version with giving us those 3 bags and the fish pictures in each one. Let's go ahead and do this numerically now. So, if I have 3 bags of fish, just like you have on your page, I know that I need to have 3 containers. So we have 3 containers here. Then we said we had 8 fish in each. So now we can either 2 options here. You can put an 8 here, or you can draw out the little fish. I'm going to leave the numbers 8 here, just that way you can see them a little easier on my camera. We can show this having those 3 groups of 8, right? Well, what does each number here represent? Well, if we wrote this out as a multiplication problem, it would be 3 groups of 8. Okay, now you will notice that I put the 3 and the times, or the multiplication mark, in blue, because I want those to be tied together. If we are pretending that this little X mark is saying of, because it's 3 groups of 8, okay? Does this represent the same thing as this, having those 3 groups of 8 in each? Well, yes, they do. This second factor here, the 8 that is now in purple, represents the number of 8 goldfish in each group. That 3 I was talking about is telling us how many groups that we have to have in that equation, okay? Now, we could also leave it over here as just a question mark for the equal sign. Why would we want to leave a question mark there? Well, a question mark can represent the sum that we don't know quite yet in either an addition or a multiplication problem. That is basically a placeholder. Just kind of hold your spot until you can come back and solve it later. All right? If you have a problem in which these numbers are not equal, let's say that she had 2 bags of 8 and then 1 bag of 6, we cannot solve them with multiplication because it's not equal groups times so many groups, right? It's not equal pieces in each one times however many total. It'd be like saying I can't do 4 plus 3 plus 7 equals 14. Addition-wise, it makes sense because 3 and 4 together make 7, plus another 7 equals 14. However, I can't say 7 times 2 equals 14 because that isn't talking about the same number of items in their separate groups, because there's a 4 here and there's a 3 here, not all 7s across the board, okay? So you gotta make sure that each group is equal. If they're unequal, you have to do it by addition, all right? Okay, let's go ahead and move down to the bottom of page 6 now. It says convince me. So model with math. Suppose that Jessie won 5 bags of 8 goldfish. Okay, so she's got a couple more bags now. We're going to use the math we know to represent the problem and to find the number of goldfish that she won. All right? So I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. And I already had the 3 bags here with 8 in each one. Now we're going to add a total of 5 bags of 8 in each one. Okay, so I just added 2 more bags that she won. You could also do this by a bar graph or a bar line to represent the same thing, but that is represented the same way. It's just they're separated versus all in one line, okay? As the numbers get bigger, you can use the bar line a little bit more clearly, but for now, we're gonna leave it as it is. All right, so suppose Jessie won those 5 bags of 8 goldfish. Ta-da, I already have them on the board. There's 2 ways that we can solve this, all right? Either we can say, and I'm gonna check that you guys can see this on the board. Okay. Either we can say 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 equals something. Or, again, tying back to the idea that multiplication is just high-speed addition, we can say there are 5 groups of 8, and that equals something. Okay? These both represent the exact same number at their answer. Instead of going 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, we just say 5 groups of 8 equals something else, all right? Now to solve this one, I personally would choose to use multiplication. It's much quicker, it's much simpler, and instead of trying to remember, okay, 8 And another 8 is 16, plus another 8 is 24. See how it took me a few seconds to remember what the next 8 would have been? Well, guess what? In multiplication, you can flip it backwards to make it easier to comprehend, easier to compute, or to actually solve the answer. So instead of trying to do 8 plus 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, we can do 5s. So we can do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and our last one would be for 8 5s would be 40. So that gives us our answer. So 5 times 8, 5 groups of 8 equals 40. Or 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 equals 40. See how they are the same exact answer? It's the exact same equation. It gives you the same sum or total as if you were trying to do the addition problem out, okay? So that's how multiplication and addition relate. They are tied together. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go on to our next page as well. So on to page 7. This is our guided practice section, okay? Number 1 says, can you write 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals 20 as a multiplication equation? Well, yes, it is possible, but I want you to explain to your parent why. Why is it able to be explained as a multiplication problem instead of just an addition problem? I'm going to give you just a moment to pause my video, give the explanation, and then you can start it again. Okay, so you should have been able to say that yes, you can, because they are equal. If each group has 5 in it, and there are 5 groups of, if each group has 5 in it and there are 4 groups, then you will have a total of 20. Okay, they have to be equal in each and every group in order to make that equation compute or work out. All right, let's go ahead and go to number 2 on the guided practice. It says, can you write 3 plus 4 plus 7 equals 14 as a multiplication equation? Well, drawing back to our earlier conversation, no, we can't, because they are not in equal groups. If you have 7 plus 7 plus 7 equals 21, that would work, because they are equal groups of 7, and there are 3 of them. If you did 3 plus 4 plus 7, well, yeah, it equals 14, but you don't have equal 7 in each group. You would have 3 here, 4 there, and 7 over there. And that doesn't add up. That doesn't, well, it adds up, but it doesn't multiply up. You cannot turn that into a multiplication problem because they are not equal groups. All right, going on to number 3. It says, Jesse buys 4 packages of stones. There are 6 stones in each package. How many stones does Jesse buy? Well, I'm going to go ahead and have you try that on your own first, and then I'll come right back. Okay, so you have to build or show your representation of, okay, she has 4 packages of stones, there are 6 packages in each. All right, if we're going to do that, we would need those 4 packages, right? So we have our 4 packages. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 packages. She said that there were 6 in each one, right? Pretty simple, pretty easy. If you wanted to make this into a numeric equation, though, we could say either 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, or there are 6 groups, or sorry, there are 4 groups of 6. And again, that's the reason why I changed the number here, I changed the color, is because it's 4 groups of, remember the little multiplication sign means of, so 4 groups of 6 in each group, okay? Again, makes it a little simpler, makes it a little easier. We can do 6 and 6 makes 12, another 12 makes 24. So we have our equals 24 total on both, all right? So you should have a total of 24 stones, okay? I want you to go ahead and try the did you know side of this box as well on top of page 7. And please complete the bottom section of independent practice on this page 7, okay? Once you have completed those, have mom and dad check them. And then I want you to go ahead and come back here to Savas Realize on your own and be able to complete the assignment for your quick check for the day. All right, guys, if you need any help, please let me know. If not, I will see you next time. Bye, guys.